Welcome, everyone, to the Commentary Podcast. I am your host, Pat Brennan.
Today on the podcast, we are going to be watching The Social Network. It was released in 2010. It is written by Aaron Sorkin and is directed by David Fincher. The cast of the film includes Jesse Eisenberg, Andrew Garfield, Justin Timberlake, Armie Hammer, Max Minghella, and Rooney Mara. On a fall night in 2003, Harvard undergrad and computer programming genius Mark Zuckerberg sits down at his computer and heatedly begins working on a new idea. In a fury of blogging and programming, what begins in his dorm room as a small site among friends soon becomes a global social network and a revolution in communication. A mere 6 years and 500 million friends later, Mark Zuckerberg is the youngest billionaire in history. But for this entrepreneur, success leads to both personal and legal complications. Joining me for this rewatch of The Social Network is my co-host from the Director series, Martin Padilla. He has been on our episodes many times. I'm sure he will be on many times in the future as well, not just for the Director series, but for other films. I will drop all of his social channels in the episode bios. So yeah, give him a follow. He's great, very good friend, and yeah, give him a follow. I'm going to be watching the 4K copy I have of The Social Network. But it is currently streaming on Max. It is also available to rent on Amazon for $3.89, on Apple for $4, and on Fandango at home for $4. I say we get things kicked off. We are going to be pressing play, and I hope you do as well, on The Social Network in 3, 2, and 1.
Yeah, starting with the White Stripes. It's my brother's favorite song.
Ball and Biscuit.
Yeah. Guess what I'm watching though that you don't own?
You got the 4K. God damn it.
Yeah, what's it going for on
I gotta
eBay?
ask, you know how the
$100? You bought it there,
$70
right?
now?
You bought it
No,
there,
not
right?
yet. I was going to, and I just didn't pull the trigger yet. On the 4K, does it have the same menu that this one does, where it's like the shots of the Harvard shit going on?
Yeah, but they put it says you can play the trailer in the top right. That's the only thing that's different. It's the same
Okay.
you see the letters slide in and stuff.
I will say this movie does have a very good trailer. The Creep.
Oh yeah.
The Creep cover from a acapella band or something.
I used to watch that trailer over and over.
Anytime that there's those prompts on Twitter that everyone's saying oh, it's the best trailer. I'm like, oh, it's actually this one.
I think they said at the time this movie was made, was it 2010? If everyone that owned a Facebook account or had one, not owned one, but had one, went and saw the movie, this movie would have grossed $6 billion.
Kind of crazy though. Not many people saw it.
I know it's people that had it didn't I don't care about seeing that.
I don't give a shit about how it was made.
Yeah.
If you think about it, this was kind of the first, how we're getting a lot of product movies, like the Beanie Babies movie and the Flamin' Hot movie. This was the first of its kind, if you think about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for
this
brand.
Kick jumped the brand film. I don't even know what you would call that genre. Product movies.
They did 99 takes of this opening scene for those that do not know.
Jesse already know Jesse hated this shit.
Yeah.
It makes me think of Mark Ruffalo and RDJ on the Actors on Actors from Variety, where they're talking about all the takes that they had to do for Zodiac.
Yeah, Rooney Mara worked, I think, 4 days on this. I think she worked 4 days on the movie.
Well, she's in this scene. She's in the next few minutes whenever he goes back and blogs about her. I want to see there's a cut shot of her for 2 seconds. There's whenever he sees her at at dinner after he meets those girls at the club.
Yeah.
Or at the the seminar with Bill Gates. And then is there another one? I think there's a picture of her at the end, but I don't think there's anything after that.
Yeah, it's just those 3 scenes.
Kind of crazy though. She got Girl with the Dragon Tattoo right after this.
Yeah, it was like in the next year it came out, 2011. So they filmed it right. They filmed it probably pretty quickly after this.
It's a pretty good run for a director. Just 2 movies like this back to back.
Yeah, he had Zodiac, Benjamin Button, this, then Dragon Tattoo, then Gone Girl. Then he went into TV.
Became Netflix's poster boy.
I mean, if you really think about it, Fincher was like, I don't know if we talked about this, but I'm sure we probably have. He was like the guy that kind of started that like full
House of
season
Cards,
drop
yeah.
television show. Like that was the first show that did that. I mean, the first that's like a groundbreaking like in like film history, like that idea to just drop the whole thing at once. That's a risk, especially on a
Worked with a lot of
platform. It
the
was like their
same
first
actors
show.
too. Robin Wright was in it, I think. Wasn't she? Kevin Spacey was in it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Oh, he also helped produce this too, didn't he? Like his name's in the credits here at the beginning.
Yeah. And unfortunately, like yeah, it sucks, but we're not going to delve into that. We'll leave that be.
Like the entire cast of Baby Driver is also cursed as well.
I know.
It's been a minute since we've seen Rooney Mara in anything like, I wouldn't say like notable, but like she did like Mary Magdalene with her husband now.
It was the last thing she was in. Was it Mary Magdalene?
I think there's something else. There was this film called Una with Ben Mendelsohn.
Oh yeah,
that was like 2019.
I found the DVD for that
based on a play.
I found the DVD for that at a Dollar Tree. I still haven't watched it, but I was like, oh, $1, I'll watch it. Probably decent.
It's a good movie. It's solid. I think she does a great job in it. I didn't understand why the film took place where it did, like all these strange settings, but then my girlfriend, she's really into like theater, and she told me that it was a play. So I was like, okay, so a lot of movies that I've noticed that I think are really solid writing, but have strange like settings or like feel like they're kind of off, or always find out are plays.
Harvard wouldn't let them shoot at Harvard, so they had to use all the surrounding colleges.
It's funny
because the last movie that they let shoot at Harvard was Love Story, like 1970, and they like destroyed like all of the trees. So Harvard was like never again. So I think this since then, I don't know if it should. I mean, this was what 14 years ago, probably 15 years ago since they filmed it. I don't think anything's ever shot on Harvard since
probably nothing since then. They should have given David Fincher a pass.
I think they use like I don't know what's around like colleges around there. I'm not from Boston, but I've been to Boston a couple times, but I don't know what's around there.
I remember reading. I've watched this with the commentary on it before. He says what it is in here, but I just don't remember.
Yeah, I mean all the buildings. She's like they all look. He's like I think in the commentary he's like yeah they all look the same. So whatever, we can play it off.
Yeah, like exactly the same.
And I think he originally wanted was it like an Elvis song for this opening or something, and
he couldn't get the rights to it. He said,
yeah, and then he heard this Trent Reznor at it, this little theme here, and he was like, okay, this is good. Which is actually interesting because he uses it 3 times in the movie, and it's always when Mark's being an asshole. He obviously put out the other scenes, but he uses it only when he's being an asshole.
Which is like a good portion of the film.
But it's like when he's like, obviously, he's like, you're like, all right, this dude's an asshole.
Like, he's not an asshole. He's just trying really hard to be.
Yeah.
As that Rashida Jones says at the end.
Yeah, you're just trying really hard.
Kirkland House. I have this is, I mean, I've told you before, but this is like one of my all-time favorites.
There's another person that's on this podcast a lot. He will not be named. That is not the biggest fan of this film.
Let's name him. Let's call him out.
He knows what he did. This whole I don't even notice there in this whole face mash scene. I can't say that face mash scene. How it's like put together. I don't like. I'll break it down how it's put together. It took me like it was like the 10th rewatch of this movie when I really noticed it. It's when it cuts to the frat house or whatever.
Yeah. It all the editing is so tight here too. It feels like it's all like
Yeah.
I mean, he's narrating everything through this like post blog that he's doing, and it's just so fun to watch. Like this
Mm-hmm.
is really kind of like sets the tone for the entire film.
So like it starts right here. So how it's he has this edited together, like he shoots all of this slow mo, like these are like the girls coming to the frat house, but he leaves Zuckerberg in like regular, like not slow motion, because his mind is just going so
Hmm.
fast compared to the people at this party that they always cut back to it, and it plays for like 5 minutes what he does. And I'll keep going. I'll keep going. Don't you worry.
I
I've
can't
like
even
showed this to
imagine how long it took to shoot all this stuff too, because there's just so
yeah.
many insert shots of just so much happening too.
Mm-hmm. I've like showed this to people and they're like, "Whoa!" I was like, "They're like, I've never seen."
Like, how'd you
Obviously, it's
notice
like not
that?
like,
You're just like, I've
yeah,
seen this 1,000 times.
yeah. And I could be like really over analyzing it, but like, I think it's really cool. Like, it's a very like, it's all in the editing. Like, still going super fast here. Like, even his friend is like smoking weed, drinking beer.
Yeah.
Like, while he's doing creating essentially the first hotornot.com essentially.
Kind of
Like,
like the first
yeah,
Facebook in a way, yeah.
yeah. So he like it just he's going so fast. So the editing, you're gonna make it so much more quicker with him.
I think it's funny to show that like he does this shit just for fun too. Like he does it just to get his rocks off. Like
Mm-hmm.
nothing other than that. And then these guys are just like wasting time at a party.
Yeah. And he does like three like tonal shifts too, like this beat, and then like once he finally sends it out, he does like another because like the music just completely changes, and like you have the slow mo shot here. Like these guys are just partying. They're not on the Zuckerberg's level. Like see how it just cuts slow mo, cuts back to quick, quick, quick.
Yeah. Dustin Moskovitz in the back. He
Slow
like
mo, yeah.
he throws the dart in the
Oh
cup.
yeah.
They did that for real too. So his reaction's real.
Yeah. Like this is editing. I mean, this won the Oscar for editing, but probably for this opening scene alone, honestly.
You think that all the like
Or like
voters were literally, oh, Shark Week.
yeah. But I love like like it shows them like all drinking and doing like taking like drugs. But he's also drinking. So he's like doing this drunk, but they're also drunk, but he's just still so much faster than they are at doing stuff like this.
It's like you really kind of side with him in the sense that like he's not a likable person, but like it's impressive to see what he's able to do.
Mm-hmm. Here he comes. Here comes Spider-Man.
You already know that he the
Here
minute
it
they
is.
got that shot, you
Oh,
already
there.
know that he like looked at David and he was like, "You get that? I need you."
You see how he like now he cut away from the party right now because now it's the tone's about to shift again because now Eduardo is here. You mean other students? But watch what he does. So then he goes outside here. So now we're like
Almost like he's
basically
teaching a class.
that we're like, and we're observing them now from like a distance. But when he sends the face smash out, look where the camera is. So yeah, like they're all still partying slow mo. got to be what, like 4 minutes of this whole scene alone right now. It's so fast paced. Probably 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Okay, so now they leave the camera out. Everyone has the face smash. So the camera's outside the buildings for every single one. But it cuts to the frat house, still outside. Inside of the frat, everyone's still looking at it
outside
from the
again.
outside. Inside the frat. But wait until the frat gets face smash. So you're still outside. Now it's in the frat. Cuts to inside. Now you're watching everybody inside look at face smash. Because if the frat thinks it's cool, it's cool. So now you're watching everybody. And the frat is now back to non-slow motion. I think it's a
Really good editing.
fantastic scene. Very good editing. Like that's a scene you should break down if you're like in a film class. How that's all edited together and put together.
It's also kind of like
Yes.
an inclusive thing for all of them. Like it's a very
Mm-hmm.
fraternal thing for them to all like be talking
Yeah.
about girls. Like,
And the frat plays a huge part in this movie. The idea like being in a frat. It's like if the frat thinks
oh
it's
yeah, I mean
cool.
even the minute that they have like the domain for the Facebook, there's like a moment where Mark tells Eduardo too. He's like I need all these guys' emails, and they all have like the dumbest emails, and then
Mm-hmm.
but he acknowledges like without these people, like this isn't going to go anywhere.
Yeah, it's like like once the frat thinks it's cool, like it's cool. So now we go inside to these people's apartments, inside to like the library, like because the frat thinks it's cool, so it has to be cool, right? Classic dude mentality, like especially in college. And the idea of
This
just
guy's in
rating
Zodiac
girls.
too.
Oh yeah, he is.
There's a lot of people that like I think me and you have talked about it, but Zodiac in this movie, like I've watched so many times
Mm-hmm.
over and over again to the point where like I've been able to like pick people and I'm like, oh, this guy's in the other movie, but like it's a very small
Mm-hmm.
role.
Yeah, I would say
There's a lot of the same people.
Zodiac, this, and a Dragon Tattoo are ones I like always rewatch.
It's the editing, man.
Mm-hmm.
Makes it really energetic. Kind of makes you want to keep coming back.
Yeah, there's my breakdown of the opening scene there.
This is just one of many scenes that are like just edited super well. And then the
Yeah.
first time that like they actually break to like a one of the depositions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was definitely like I don't know how long. Like I was like sitting there watching it. I went, wait a minute, and I like rewound that whole scene and watched it again. And I was like, holy shit! I just like a light bulb went off in my like I had. There's Rashida
They make a
Jones.
really smart choice to also specifically tell us like this is Eduardo's deposition first. They don't
Mm-hmm.
even think about showing us the other one for a while.
I don't think they show it until we see the Winklevoss twins, right?
Mm-hmm. Aaron Sorkin, I
Yeah.
think, also mentioned that a lot of the scenes where like I mean them writing all the scenes from like the perspective of people who were like all in the suing each other. They all are saying that like there were so many different stories of what actually happened that like the scene where they
Oh
come back is
yeah.
literally like, oh well, that was a lie. Like it's a lie. Like they immediately tell you up front, like this is all a lie. Like we don't know what's true at this
Oh
point.
yeah. I
Like
guess you
this
see
is
the
the closest we'll get
Winklevosses
to that
here.
version.
I guess you see them here, so now you can have this deposition scenes.
CG
But I don't
CG
think
Army
they
Hammer in the back.
yeah, played by Josh Pence. He was on a show on Freeform called like Good Trouble. He's if you probably he's actually in this movie when they leave the bathroom after like hooking up with the girls and
Oh
they're like,
yeah, yeah.
"Whoa,
He shows up for
girls
like
are
a line.
changing."
He's
And
like, nice.
nice, yeah, because like Fincher felt bad. He was like, I gotta, because you're basically like, and like you're gonna be like, hey man, we're just gonna edit your entire face out. Like, thanks for standing in. I will say, Army Hammer is very good in this movie.
Well, he's
Very
awesome. He was able to literally do like two roles at the same time, like without even making it seem like he did. The first time I saw this,
Mm,
I had no idea that it was like CG Army Hammer for some
yeah,
scenes.
I've read that they did. There's 1,000 VFX shots in this movie. 1,000.
It's a lot for a movie of this kind of stature. And I
Yeah,
know
if you
people
tell it
like
to
typically
somebody,
think about it because it's such a
yeah,
that's
if
like
you
how
told it
much
to
you have for something
somebody,
like Transformers, dude.
right? I think it had more VFX shots than um, Godzilla in like 2014. Like that's
Mhm.
insane. That's like wild to think about. But I guess a lot of it is with Army Hammer, like the Winklevoss twins. Like a lot of that. Oh, it's like all
Yeah.
CGI.
It's some of who is it that said that some of the best CG and some of like the best visual effects you'll ever see is the one that you don't notice. And this
You
is a
don't
movie that
say,
really kind
yeah.
of is a great example of that because like if nobody told you, you'd probably have no idea that this film has any CG whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of like, because you can see this as like another deposition against him. Like there's, just
Like
for one
another scene of
scene.
someone just getting something against them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Either always got something on his ass.
Yeah. Oh, wired headphones.
If this was made now, they'd have like AirPods in or something.
Yeah.
Pulls out an iPod.
I used to have an iPod Classic. I remember when that thing could hold like 160 gigs. It's like, whoa, this is a lot.
I remember getting an iPod Touch for Christmas and thinking, this is right here. Game
Like a
changer.
new iPod, new headphones, and you're just sitting by yourself.
Then they had to change what was on the note because
Mm-hmm.
apparently it was too vulgar.
I think it said fucker or something.
I
Like you
think so.
fucker. It'd have been rated R if they did that. So
It makes you
because
wonder if they used VFX to change that too, or if they just did another insert
maybe
shot real fast, or if they shot multiple of them. Yeah.
because Andrew Garfield at the end says my fuck you flip flops. So like if they had two F bombs, it's rated R. Even if you can read
There's
it,
a
it's
few
rated
movies
R.
that have gotten away with two Fs.
You can get
It's
away
it's
with like
very rare
more
that you see
shits
them.
now.
Yeah.
You can really notice the CGI in this scene. Except for that. They shot that separately.
I think there's some smart choices to kind of hide the CG, like the headband is one of them, I'd say. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's a little bit easier to hide it, not this one, but the shot before. Like right there.
Mm-hmm. You can kind of see Josh
The
Pence's face right here.
sunglasses.
You can see his like face right here. Like that's his like facial structure. Again, on a first watch, you're not going to notice that stuff.
We're just obsessive. That's all it is.
Yeah. When you've seen this
It's
movie
like the thing
how
in
many
Lord of the
times?
Rings with like the helmet. Yeah, like we're just gonna point it out
Yeah.
every time.
But hey, maybe someone's only seen this movie once or twice. So that's what we're here for. They probably were like, shut up, Pat,
Like
when I was like analyzing that whole scene.
the commentary. I mean, that's what we're here for. We're here to comment. We're here
Comment
to
on.
analyze.
Hey, someone's listening. It's probably just like my mom, my dad. I love that little shrug.
I love that
Why?
little shrug he
Yeah.
does. Yeah.
Just why?
Whenever there's another one later in the movie whenever they're talking about like him bringing up the chicken and then he's like telling them he's like we actually found it on our own. He asked us not to and he shrugs and he goes oops.
Yeah. Oops.
I think it's interesting that they separated both Army Hammers probably to make it easier to shoot it.
Oh yeah.
So that they could just shoot him separately in two different shots.
Hmm.
I feel like this must have been a nightmare for Army Hammer to shoot because he had to like memorize two different sets of lines.
Yeah, like yeah, the Fincher said he used like motion control, so you can create like two shots at once. That's how they were able to like shoot Army Hammer stuff like a lot quicker. Especially, it's a lot easier
Hmm,
in post because you're doing the same camera movement, so it's a lot easier in post to edit.
that makes sense.
But yeah, it's like for that stuff, it's like we'll just shoot them separately because it's easier. Like it's for these shots, like it's the same essentially thing. Like, and then when you're in post, you can just basically put them together very quick, like a lot quicker.
The entire thing with them cutting back between the two depositions thing is so smart too. Like
Mm-hmm.
he gets one question, he doesn't even answer it. He goes to the next
Yeah.
question, doesn't even answer it.
Jesse Eisenberg said it was like his idea during the Winklevoss ones, the deposition to like be drawing and like writing down.
Yeah,
And you
because
could
he
tell
was
by
making
like
it seem like he didn't give a shit about it.
he didn't give a shit about that one. Like, and you could tell by the way he's dressed in that one. It's like really kind of like he looks like he's wearing like a costume, like a shirt over like a shirt and tie, like a t-shirt over it. And like
Mhm.
for the Andrew Garfield one, he's a lot more like
Everything with Eduardo, he's a lot more
yeah, he's a
relaxed, but
little
he's more
yeah,
respectful about it too.
he's more respectful about it. Yeah, like and he's not drawing in that one either. Like he's more respectful.
It's almost like two juxtapositions and everything. Like it's yeah, he's more relaxed, but he's more respectful. He's actually present and paying attention. The one with the Winklevosses, he's like, I know I got this in the bag, so it doesn't even matter.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of crazy. He got Spider-Man, what, like a year after this? Came out 2012.
Yeah. I mean, he should have been nominated for an Oscar for this.
He's great.
Kind of wild that he
Silence.
wasn't. Like this, like outfit is like Mark Zuckerberg's like suit in a way. That's why he like kind of wears it to the Eduardo deposition.
Oh yeah, didn't like the real Mark Zuckerberg watch this. The only thing that got right of this movie was like his wardrobe.
Yeah, yeah. I think even like Eduardo and like the Winklevosses were like, yeah, a lot of this is like exaggerated. But I mean, I think Sorkin, like that's the point. Like he even said, he's like, I didn't do this because I like Facebook. Like I just did it because it's like you're
It's a
essentially
story.
watching
It's a
like
good story.
loyalty of friendships like just go away. Like that's why he was like drawn
Yeah.
to it, as opposed to
I've had a lot of
like
people
again,
ask me about this movie, like why it's my favorite, and I'm like, it's all about loyalty. Like, there's so much on every side from everybody, like friends
yeah,
wise.
loyalty and like jealousy, essentially.
Have you read the script for this? Like the screenplay for it?
I did like probably 10 years ago.
It's so good. I love hearing Aaron Sorkin talk about like his writing process and stuff like that. You also have like the Sorkinisms that you see online of people like doing compilations of him like basically using the same like set of lines, but I don't even care. I'm like,
Mm.
this is great.
Yeah, it's like Sorkin and I'm drawing a blank on her name. They created Gilmore Girls.
Oh,
And Mrs. Maisel too.
Amy Sherman Palladino.
Amy Schumer Palladino and her husband. Like that type of dialogue, like this, like Sorkin and like that Gilmore Girls, where it's just very quick. Like no one talks like that. No one speaks this fast. Like not every single person in the world speaks this fast. Like that has these like little quip one-liners to come back. Like, but if you essentially can build a career essentially on people talking that fast, like Sorkin has, and like in Gilmore Girls, it works like them talking that fast. It's
It
unrealistic
almost adds like
type
a
of
bit of a
dialogue,
dynamic
but
aspect to it.
yeah,
Like it's so much more interesting to watch something that's like just go, go, go and has that energy. Also, Gilmore Girls is
I
It
love that
rocks.
show.
I'm gonna just say it right now.
That's one of my
My
favorites.
girlfriend got me on it.
I watched it. I think when I first moved out to LA like 10 years ago, I was like, it like was just on Netflix. And I was like, whatever, I'll try it. And I was like hooked after like the first 3 episodes. I was like, yo, I'm like all in. Like,
It's in on Netflix. Is it? I think it's in the wrong aspect ratio on Netflix. Like, is it in it like a
I mean,
one
it's
to four? Isn't it like four by
I don't know
three?
if no, I think it's 16:9 in that, but it's I don't think they shot it that way. So it's like they definitely restored it, but I don't like they just shot it on film, I assume. I don't think they shot it on
Yeah.
tape
It
because
doesn't
that's why a
look
lot of
great on
those
Netflix. It's just crushed.
yeah,
Like it does
a lot
not
of
look
those
very good.
a lot of those like 90s sitcoms and shows like especially sitcoms are shot on like tape. That's why you will never see like a Blu-ray like upgrade from them a
Yeah.
lot of them
They're
because
never
it's
gonna
just
get like a restored version of
it's
them.
not gonna look good. It's not gonna look good. Yeah, like even like I have like obviously my favorite show is Boy Meets World, and I have like the box set DVD. The DVDs look better than Disney Plus because Disney Plus tries essentially to upscale to like 4K or whatever your TV has, whatever like you have Apple
Yeah.
TV 4K. It's going to try to upscale to that, so it's going to look a little weird. And then when you put like the DVD in, you're like, wow, this DVD looks better because like
It just looks
it's not
better,
trying to
yeah.
upscale. It's not trying to upscale. It's just taking the scan of the VHS.
I can't remember who I talked to about something like that, where I told them that like things that were shot a long time ago like can look better now because of the way that they were shot like
Mm,
on film. And they'll be like, well, why does this TV
especially
still not have a
film.
Blu-ray? And I'll be like, it's I mean mostly
Yeah.
TV. TV specifically is almost always, especially like the 90s, 2000s era, was just shot
Mhm.
on tape and it's just gonna be stuff like that forever.
That's why a lot of like 4K up new transfers like that's like I would always tell people like if you want to like get into 4K like look for like older movies like because they're using like original like
They look a lot
sometimes
better.
they'll have the original like essentially print that they can restore from that. If you're gonna like that's why sometimes like digital stuff um the
Can
Blu-ray,
look
like
worse.
if it's shot digital, it's like you're not going to see much difference between a Blu-ray and a 4K. The only thing you're going to get is like essentially like Dolby, like essentially the surround, like the sound's going to be a lot better, but the visual will probably almost look the same. But yeah, like if you look at something like Roman Holiday, you look at the
Star
DVD and
Wars.
then you look at the DVD and then you put the 4K and you're like, whoa, like this looks
Huge
good.
difference, yeah.
Like yeah.
I think the original like Star Wars trilogy looks great. The Star Wars prequel trilogy looks awful though. All the
Mhm.
digital stuff that they did with it.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it sucks that you're never gonna get like a real 4K of the OG trilogy because he's changed it so much. Like you have to essentially have those VHSs, the original VHSs or
Yeah.
essentially the original cuts. I don't know if like older DVDs had those. I mean, I used to
There
have
are
those
people online that
VHSs,
I've seen
but
before who do like the specialized editions. I mean, it's like completely unsanctioned and it's not like
oh yeah,
regulated or anything like that. But
it's
yeah,
on
you
like
can
the
find them
dark web.
online.
It's on the dark web.
In the dark. It's called Etsy, bro.
Yeah. We should make a movie dark
The
web of
dark web.
unreleased a movie dark web of unreleased cuts or cuts that just no longer exist. We could put the memento um in order cut on there.
The chronological feel like
Like
that
this is
shot
such
with
a
Josh Pence in the background. Like
yeah,
you
yeah,
can
you
tell
get,
it was him for a second.
yeah.
It's so out of focus that you can't even notice.
See, like this is the camera movement I was talking about. See how there it's essentially like that was what I was talking about, how it's easier to do that in post if you're using that type of camera movement with the motion.
Mhm.
Because essentially you're
You
shooting
know,
two shots essentially at once.
that shot of him eating the burger though, I saw like when they were shooting that, like the video for it, and they said that he spit up like a spit bucket of just
Oh
burger
yeah.
for like I think they said like 30 times.
Oh yeah, I think he said like I made the
Miserable.
mistake. I made the mistake of biting into the burger and
Like way too hard.
yeah. Yeah, there's always if people want to like when people are eating in movies and shows, a lot of the times you'll see them there's always peas and carrots because it's easy to cook and you can let it sit there for a while. Um but
They
yeah,
play with their food a lot in movies
yeah,
too.
There's always spit buckets down next to him.
You remember that movie that Paul Dano did with Carey Mulligan? He directed it, and Jake Gyllenhaal's like in it as
Was it
well. Wildlife.
Wildlife? Yeah. Oh, speaking of, I
Yeah,
think I told you
Wildlife.
this.
The
Yeah, you can. Sorry.
No, I was gonna
Whatever
say
were you
that the
saying about
kid
Wildlife?
that's in that movie was saying that Jake Gyllenhaal taught him how to eat, like fake eat, because he would really eat. He said,
I actually saw Wildlife with at the ArcLight in Hollywood pre it closing, which I think it's actually opening up again soon. I think someone else bought it, but I was the only one in the theater, and Rooney Mara and Kate Mara walked in and sat like
"Oh
three
yeah,
seats
you
next
did
to
tell me
me.
about that."
I was
I
like,
think you
oh,
mentioned it whenever we were watching the Dragon Tattoo one, but even
yeah.
then, like that was, I still think about that. That's crazy.
I was,
You just walk in and watch it.
I was like, just stare forward, just stare forward. I was the only one in the theater, and they walked in. I saw Kate Mara walk in first, and then I saw her. I was like, oh my god, like holy shit.
There's a
Mark,
girl
just
in
so you
your
know,
class named
I was
Stephanie
in.
Addis.
Also, I was in Jurassic Park. You remember that?
My teacher said. My teacher said.
Like
Oh, this
I'm
got
sure
eaten by
this.
a T-Rex. This guy.
Yeah, like I'm sure this didn't happen. Like no one walks around with a like that. Like this is very like Hollywoody.
This is verbatim, word for word, what happened. Absolutely.
I mean, that would be a great like. I'd be like, yo, if I came up with that idea, I want 10%. 10%
I
of
love that he's in shorts, and you have no idea that there's snow out there until he pans, and he's just
yeah.
running out in
Just,
in shorts and flip flops, dude.
but I mean, I would see that all the time. Like I went to school in Philly, like 6 degrees
And
outside,
I believe it.
snowing, and
It's just so funny to me.
there's
Like
always a kid in shorts, always a kid in shorts. Like, man, put some pants on. It's cold outside.
he's always like half asleep in these everything that he's doing. What's crazy is I remember like whenever I got Facebook, it didn't look so far different from this. Like it looked pretty close to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
And
I
now
was
it's just
invited.
completely different now.
One of my brother's friends' older sister, I think she went to Yale, and she like sent a link to him, and like I was able to create a Facebook, like pre it going. I created one, then I was like, whatever, I don't really care, because it like still wasn't like anything. Cause he still had
I think it's
MySpace
funny
at that
that
time.
yeah. It's funny that this was like made primarily for college students. Like that was the whole deal. And now it's literally like those college students grew up and now it's just full of like grown adults and
Mm-hmm.
like reading fake political crap online every day,
Yeah,
fake news because it's just
it's
so
kind of
unregulated
wild.
now.
Yeah, like that's how like essentially like because there's AIM and that's how you would chat, and then essentially Facebook introduced the chat, and that was your new way to chat. Like you didn't have AIM anymore. Like you'd be sitting there, and then it would pop up like at the bottom of like who's chatting with you, and you're like, yes, my crush is chatting with me now.
Have you seen
She
the
likes
Blackberry
me.
movie that came out earlier last year? The one that
I
I
haven't
think Matt Johnson did it.
because it was a wasn't it a miniseries and they like edited it into a movie?
No, it was actually the other way around. It was a
Other
movie
way around,
first, and then it got edited into a
a
miniseries.
miniseries.
Yeah, I haven't seen the miniseries version of it, but the movie's pretty solid. But there was a scene that's kind of like in the same vein of that, where like they're talking about like, what if we have a closed messaging system specifically for BlackBerry users, and then they have it where like
Mm.
they're trying to think about it. They're like, why would we do that? Like that's proprietary. And then the guy from It's Always Sunny, Glenn Howerton, is like, we're gonna promote it as the first one that only works on Blackberries.
I
Solid
feel like
movie, also. You should check it
and
out.
I've heard it's good. I feel like we always mention FX shows on these spots now.
It's low key like
Plug
FX
FX
promotion
sponsored.
actually.
Yeah. Just kidding. I don't want to get fired. Just kidding.
Divya Narendra. He was in something pretty recently. Trying to
He directed
think.
he directed that Teen Spirit movie with Elle Fanning.
Yeah, I think so.
I think he's a nepo baby.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was.
I love this like little like I think he still trips.
I wouldn't be surprised if he tripped on purpose and they just left it in there.
mm-hmm.
What's his
I
name?
was
Matt Mangella?
I always thought he ran so slow here. Like my dude, pick it up.
Oh, he does 100%.
Probably wasn't even him, but
Zuckerberg stole our website.
make the lighting like super like green.
It's like all of his movies have that same like type of
Yeah.
color grading. I love it. Oh, he was in Babylon. That's what I saw him in recently.
Oh, yeah,
He
he's
was in
only like one.
Babylon.
Isn't he like in the? Is he only in the opening
Like
scene?
I
I
want to
don't
say
even
that he's in the
remember.
like opening like 20 30 minutes worth like the set and stuff like that where
Oh yeah, I've only
like
I
that
have the
whole
four.
sequences. I'm pretty sure he's in there.
I have the 4K, but I have only ever seen
Such
it
a good
in
movie. I
theater.
rewatched it
I haven't
recently.
watched. I need to rewatch it. I mean, I've only seen it once in theaters. I have
He
the
was
4K though.
also in the critically acclaimed 2021 film Spiral, The Book of Saw.
Oh yeah, he like
You guys remember
spoiler. He's
Spiral,
like
right?
he's the bad guy. But I that movie is like Chris Rock's acting makes that movie like hilarious. Like I love that
No, he's
movie
so dumb.
just because yeah, like his line delivery. I know we're talking about Spiral on the Social Network podcast.
No, you're right.
his his line delivery. I'll just say one thing. His line delivery of the witness pulled a gun on you, like the way he delivered. Oh my god! I literally I was in the theater. In the theater, there was like two dudes sitting next to me, and they also burst out laughing at that. I was like, "That's hilarious! This movie's
My favorite
hilarious."
trope in the Saw franchise is them like trying to make someone look younger and just putting a hat on backwards because it makes them
Yeah,
look younger.
but
They
it's
did the same
funny.
thing with
It's
him in
like,
that movie.
and look how long that franchise
They're
is
like
still
really
going,
stupid
man.
soap operas almost.
Yeah. So many sequels. I mean, speaking of sequel, I heard that there was rumors a couple years ago that Sorkin was like toying around with an idea of sequel to
Yeah.
this.
I feel like every few years or so we hear that about this movie, which if that's the case, I'll be honest, I think the perfect way to do it would be to do like the whole like Zuckerberg standing in front of Congress, but
Yeah, like
recap
that's your
like have the
main.
same exact cast, everything. That is your main
Oh yeah,
story.
obviously minus you wouldn't have. I mean, they're not really a part of it anymore, Winklevosses, but
I think I like Aaron Sorkin. I feel like I have faith in him to do something that could if he had a sequel, I think we would have announced it by now. Like I think he would have probably delivered on it by now, but maybe he is writing that
yeah.
movie. Who knows?
I mean, he won an Oscar for this and Moneyball.
Hmm. You know what's funny though is I am not a big sports guy. I think you know that. I think everybody pretty much
Mhm.
knows that. But Moneyball is the one movie that I remember thinking like,
That's like
dude, this feels like The Social Network, and then I found out why.
yeah. That's like every person that like loves movies. They're like, yeah, I'm not a big sports person, but Moneyball though, that's the one.
Moneyball.
Which was the next year. No, he went back to back Oscars.
What are we
2000. It was
freaking talking
2011.
about, man?
It's
Good
2011, right?
movie.
Yeah.
Philip Seymour Hoffman was in that, and then he did Catching Fire, and then Mockingjay, and
That was it. No.
rest in peace, brother.
Oh,
I
he was
think
in
so.
The
I think
Master.
he did
He was in The
another movie in
Master.
between those.
The Master.
Yeah, 2012. You're right. No, 2011.
I think it was 12
I can't remember what year it was.
around that
I think it
time.
was
And
12 as well.
he made another movie. I think it was called like
Eye in the
Savages.
Sky or something like that.
No.
It was one that was you're talking about the one that Oliver Stone did.
No, it was another movie that also I'm pretty sure had the same title as Savages, but I don't, it may have came out earlier.
I did it.
Not the Oliver Stone Savages with Blake Lively and Tim Riggins.
He's terrible.
Oh, there's the trailer line. Your best friend is suing you for $600 million. I guess he does have a tie on in the Eduardo deposition.
Yeah, he still looks a bit more like he's wearing a hoodie. You know what I mean? Like, look at that.
Yeah, but it's still more like how ridiculous his outfit looks in the other one. Like his sleeves are rolled up.
Yeah, like he's like he's got a real emphasis to kind of come off as like a I'm better than you type vibe. He's like real showing his he's showing his
Yeah,
arms. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Natalie
I
Portman.
know who it was.
Natalie Portman, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah. There we go. There
I
we
think they're.
go, guys.
I think they were originally gonna say Natalie Portman, then they were like, "Yeah, again, you don't need to." Like that's the point. Like, does it matter? Like, we're not talking about this movie's about this, not Natalie Portman.
They should have got the real Bill Gates for this sequence.
It was actually Conan O'Brien, guys. God, Conan O'Brien went to Harvard. People, he dropped out though.
Oh, it was actually really Conan O'Brien that like was this whole thing.
Yes, it's actually based off Conan O'Brien.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know.
okay.
People know that Conan O'Brien went to Harvard for like he's like a history major. That dude knows his stuff. Very smart man, but he dropped
He
out.
does have like a lot of strangely like a lot of like content like film TV stuff based around like history
Oh,
if I feel
he,
like I'm in the right like what's that show called like Drunk History? I feel like he's involved in that
mhm.
somehow.
he History Channel finally actually went back to like making documentaries on history instead of like showing like Pawn Stars. Uh, but they had one on
Like that's
JFK
all they
last
show all
year.
day.
Yeah, they had one on JFK last year. It was pretty good, and they interviewed Conan, and he was like on it a lot, talking about
I
JFK.
could see that.
I hope Brenda's
I could have
song.
sworn he was looking at you right whenever he said next
Yeah,
Bill Gates could be right in this room.
but that guy's an actual like Bill Gates impersonator. The guy that they put in there. I guess here's your
All their
VFX
breath
shots
here
of
is
the snow.
CG too, they said. The breath,
Yeah,
yeah. Well, their breath
the
too.
snow, the snow falling so slowly.
Dude, this guy right here that tells him he could be the next Bill Gates. Every time I watch this, I think to myself, like, he needed to be in some sort of like Beatles. It's like some sort of Beatles
Oh yeah,
biopic, and he just
he looks like
plays.
a
Yeah,
George
he
Harrison.
looks
He
like
looks like
Paul
George
McCartney.
Harrison and George
He looks
Harrison.
like
Like
all of
either
them,
one.
honestly. Get four of them. Get four of them right now. Beat Cornell. That's funny.
That's how you know they went to Harvard. Beat Cornell.
I love this little moment where Wardo gets them both beers because he sees them as a team, right?
Yeah.
And then he doesn't even see it, and he gets himself
Mm-hmm.
one beer.
Yep.
And this happens so many times throughout the movie too, where like something happens along those lines where like Eduardo gets two of something for both of them, and then he gets one.
Yeah, or like Zuckerberg like
He's
just
just
forgets. He just like forgets about Eduardo. But spoiler though, when Eduardo goes to San Francisco when they're there and he forgets to pick him up, Mark Zuckerberg did say that he actually went and picked up Eduardo. So that was a lie. But it makes for a good movie.
What does that say on the fireplace? Use of this fireplace is prohibited. Why is it there?
Oh yeah. For a look. Well, I'm sure these buildings were all essentially colonial homes that they just remade into like apartments
Oh yeah,
from like the
little
17,
IKEA
1600s.
bit.
Yeah.
That little area where the light is. Do you see that? It's just like not even painted right.
Yeah. Well, these are all sets, but they probably like had interior photos of what their apartments looked like.
Yeah, I'm sure. Does every guy who ever made a chair owe to any guy who makes a chair?
Yeah. I love the blocking too. Like you just have him sitting down, like he's just so relaxed about it. Eduardo, shirt unbuttoned, screaming, looking down at him. But then when
Then
he
he kind
comes
of
like
brings him down to his level.
brings down to his level, but then Eduardo sits down and calms down. And he's like, okay, we're friends. He's yelling at him, but now he's like, oh, you're still my friend. Is there anything else? Yes.
The
See, now
you
he's
know the
being like,
scene somewhere towards like I want to say it's like after he meets Sean and he's in California when they're on the phone and he locks the bank account. They're both just like facing each other in different directions and then like they're suddenly agreeing. The blocking in
mm-hmm,
that whole sequence, the editing is so good, dude.
mm-hmm. Again, here the music comes in because he was an asshole and basically started this whole thing without the Winklevosses. Like he just took their idea and made it better. This is like my favorite scene. There's like this whole dialogue exchange
Oh yeah.
because he does this thing with the shoulders here,
They're-
and then Fincher like raises the camera a little bit to do like the same shoulder movement with him. So he's like call themselves tall, and he's like, yeah, he's like being an asshole here. So you just play the same theme from the beginning.
If your clients want to stand on my shoulders and call themselves tall,
Yeah.
they have every
So I
right
think he
to.
like so calls
Doesn't
himself
have to be
tall.
true.
He does the little camera movement with him, I believe. Or when he goes when
And then
he
he mentions the
the
camera too, in like perjuring
yeah.
himself. They show the camera.
No, he actually doesn't move it there, but it's
Oh,
when he does the lie. He goes don't like the lie, and just the don't like that editing of just the lie. He does the eye movement right to them, like so good. Push in on him when he's being an asshole. Leave everyone else outside the frame because even his lawyers are like, Jesus.
God, you're being an asshole, dude. Like, calm down. You're gonna lose this case.
Yeah. But yeah, like
No one is
even
on
when
your
he's like
side now, dude.
when he finally like talks to the other lawyer, he just shoots him by that, just directly staring at him. It cuts back to the lawyers just being like, Jesus, like maybe we shouldn't have him speak. Just have him sit there.
Let him sit there. I'll defend him.
The only thing, like, I guess from a, I guess it's a nitpick, which I hate doing with movies. It's like at the end when she's like, how much did you cut him out of the company? And like he brought him down to 0.0%. Why wouldn't you just open with that as an argument? And like because the lawyer's like, yeah, you got me there. Like, why would you just this deposition was 5 minutes long. It was just us coming into the room.
Fair
Yeah,
enough. Fair enough.
You cut us down to 0.0 like 7%.
I think if anything,
Right?
it's just making a point that like on one,
Yeah. You just have
nobody
to
else
build
got
up
cut
the
of the company as
case.
much as he did.
Yeah, he's got to build up the case. Brenda Song. Now married. Are they
There
married?
he
Married
is.
to
This
Macaulay Culkin.
Macaulay Culkin and Hera married. Yeah,
Yeah, there's Josh Pence.
nice. Oh, he's so sweet, my man.
Yeah,
Still
he's like
good. That's still good.
sweet. Yeah, and here's your other Rooney Mara scene.
Also, candles, dude. That must have been a nightmare.
Oh, I love the look she gives, and she looks him like really quickly up and down. Like,
And they don't. They make a point to not show his face during that shot either. That's so cool.
mm-hmm.
He shoots them separately too. Like they're never in the same shot.
Mm-hmm. Which is wild because like they all know this guy's an asshole, and all those people at the table will eventually have a Facebook account.
Yeah. They
But I guess
separated
that's
the
the
art from
point
the
of
artist.
capitalism, though.
Yeah.
Like just the editing, it's like like just no problem, and then she swings her head back, and you're just gonna swing back with her in the edit, right back up to him. Like it's so smooth. Very rightfully deserved Oscar for editing. They won back to back too for Dragon Tattoo. They won editing.
And then the minute that they go back to the rooms, he's like, we have to expand, right? And so
Yeah, like right there.
He makes sure to get expansion in the schools that are surrounding BU, and then he says, make
Mm-hmm.
sure that there's a story in the paper about it at BU because he wants her to know
Yeah,
about it.
yeah. I love how they still have that. There's one beer on the mantle that's been there for like 5 days. Still sitting there. I love the line. Who are the girls? Who are the girls?
Christy and Ellis. Hello.
Hi.
He's got the Riz. Look at him.
Yeah, he's like, I was in Jurassic Park. He just keeps saying that. He's actually in
Jurassic
the.
Park. That'd be funny
He's
if
in
his
the.
character would just say that.
Yeah, he's also in the Pacific, the Band of Brothers like companion series.
He's also in another film that won Best Editing in 2019. If you can guess the film.
Ford v Ferrari.
It was actually Bohemian Rhapsody, sadly.
Oh yes, he plays one of the Queen members.
I think he plays I can't remember which one, but he's in it. He's in it, sadly.
Do you know why that won Best Editing?
No, because I've seen that film and it's horrendous editing. Why for the
essentially
Live Aid sequence?
the people that essentially voted for it felt like incredibly bad for that whole crew, and when they watched the final product, they were like, "It's passable." They did a good enough job for what all the behind the scenes stuff. That's the rumor of why it won. Because obviously that one
What's
scene, like the scene when they're sitting at the table, like that's really bad. But honestly, that's like thinking back to that movie, like the editing wasn't terrible. Like it was just that one scene. Basically, yeah, it's
I'm
like
looking to see what
basically.
else won Best Editing or what else was nominated that year.
I'm pretty sure Ford v Ferrari. I think Ford v Ferrari won like all the. It won an award, I
Dude,
think, for
no. Ford v Ferrari isn't even in this list
Oh,
for
you
Best
said
Editing.
I was thinking 2019 movies, not 2019 Oscars. That's why.
Okay, yeah, my bad.
So I
I
think
should have
Ford v Ferrari did.
specified.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is kind of crazy because every single one of these films, I think there's two that definitely don't belong here. There's three that I'm like, okay, you guys can definitely get in here, but even then, it's like I don't see any of these films as like the best editing Oscar. But we have Vice, Green Book, The Favorite. That's the only one I can really think of that would have won. That I think should have
Mm-hmm.
won. Black Klansman and Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah. I will say 2018 isn't a particularly
It was a
standout
bad
year for
year.
me.
It was a bad year for the Oscars. I mean, 2019 Oscars though, is what I mean. But like that year, there
Was
was
I
not very much notable stuff.
was I correct in the Ford v Ferrari editing win? Do you know?
Oh, actually, ooh, Dakota Johnson. Let's find out. 2020
So just so you know,
nominations.
she goes to Stanford. She's wearing a Stanford sweatshirt and Stanford underwear. That's how you know she goes to Stanford.
Also, David Fincher made it a point for her to wear on her underwear.
You're like, Dakota, your dad was in Miami Vice, okay?
Best film editing for the Academy Award went to. Why did it take me to 1934?
Hold on, let me guess. No, I'm just kidding. 1934, I would not know that. I mean, for all I watch the Oscars every year, I couldn't tell you half the time who wins what. Sometimes I'll randomly get it, but
I'm pretty good at some of them. Like I have friends at work that I talk like when on a slow day, they'll like quiz me. They'll be like, "What's this movie? Like, who won this one for this best movie?"
yeah. I mean,
For
what were the
best editing, you were right. Ford v
Ford
Ferrari.
v Ferrari? I knew it. I knew it was kind of a surprise win. And Justin Timberlake sued Sean Parker because of Napster. What?
It's kind of funny. Full circle moment for us.
I mean, again, everyone's great in this. Justin Timberlake's pretty. He's not the greatest actor in the world, but he's good in this.
He's great in this. We got Madam Web. We got Mr. Sasquatch. We got It's Like I'm a Mirror.
Weren't they just in a movie together? No.
Dakota Johnson and Sean Parker. Or who?
Not like Justin Timberlake, not Sean Parker, but
Uh,
I remember she like, or maybe like they like ran into. I don't know. I thought I saw something recently. Like they were like, "Oh, we haven't seen each other since essentially filming the scene." Like
oh, I saw a picture of them together recently. I don't
maybe
think that there
maybe it
was
was
a
just
movie though.
maybe it was just a picture. Yeah, like it was the first time they'd seen each other
Them
since
just
filming the
bumping into each
scene.
other like
Yeah, at a party or something.
trying to think who else is in this that plays like a character. Actually, we got Spider-Man, we got Madam Web, we got Mr.
Lex Luthor. We got Lex Luthor.
Instinct over here. Lex Luthor. That is true. Lex Luthor. Who else is in here? Brenda Song. We have what was her name? London Tipton.
From Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. Was that other song?
Yeah, it was Zach and Cody. The Facebook.
I will say I did not watch Zach
I'll
and
put
Cody. It was
that.
a little after my Disney Channel time. That was when I
Bro,
was
Zach
too
and
cool.
Cody
Cool for
was
Disney Channel. I was too cool for it. That was like
Zach
the
and
Hannah
Cody
Montana
was
era, right?
yeah, Zach and Cody is like it's like on the same level of Game of Thrones and The Sopranos, I'd say. It's pretty up there.
I mean, I've heard
There's a
great
huge
things.
character arc in season 2. This scene's great. I love it.
Oh, I love that. When I see my favorite lines when the principal is like, "Pant what?
100-year-old
Shoot me."
doorknob.
Yeah. He goes, "Pant what?" She goes, "What?" He goes,
Shoot
"Shoot me in
me.
the face."
How'd they get this meeting? Friends of their
Yeah.
friends of their fathers.
Basically being like, "Oh, you nepo babies," essentially. Oh, like this guy's so good. I think he was actually the dean of admissions or something. Like he's not an actor. Yeah,
Oh, like this guy is. I want to say that I've seen
yeah.
him in something else, but I'm gonna be honest. Like I can't think of what. So you're probably right.
I'm pretty sure he's something that has to do with like some board of admissions. I don't know if it's for Harvard, but I love it. Yeah, he comes in. He's like, "I got some people in here that looks like they want to sell me a Brooks Brothers franchise."
And you memorize this instead of doing what?
Yeah. He's like, "You're right here. Punch me in the face."
No, punch you in the face. It's close
Punch me in the
enough.
face.
Shoot me in the face would have been a better idea.
And what? Like he's reading me the definition of the student handbook. Like, yeah, I know it. Punch me in the face.
Then the guys just jumping the gun. Screw this. He stole our shit. We want to get it back.
Yeah. I think they had an F bomb coming up too that they edited to freaking.
Oh yeah, he holds his tongue. Not with each other. That makes no sense. That saddens me. Or I'm devastated by that.
I'm devastated by that. Like it's like that Sorkin dialogue. It's just quick, but I'm devastated by that. Like that's like that little quip back is just so quick.
This
Like
little quippy dialogue. I love it.
yeah. And the editing
You might just be
the
letting your
editing
imaginations run away with you.
yeah. And the quick editing also makes the dialogue work. Like if you had them just sitting there like all in the same frame, like I feel like it would just be like it would feel awkward.
Didn't they say that like the studio saw how long the script was and they were like immediately like, no, we're not doing this, and they were like, no, we'll do a read through, we'll time it. I think they said that it was like a little over 2 hours, but because there was so many pages that the studio was thought that it was gonna be like 3 hours.
I think he said.
So
I think
he
it was
said
like
this.
around like 200 pages, and I think the studio said to
Okay.
um,
There's
cut
so
it
much
down,
dialogue.
and I think Fincher said like, don't do that. Um, we'll just talk faster, essentially.
Yeah.
And I think he mentions in the comment, or
So
maybe he doesn't mention in the commentary, but I think he said that's why the dialogue starts over the credits in the beginning, so they can just get that
I
scene
feel like you're
going right
catching
away.
up.
Yeah, like you're just
Well,
catching up
Aaron
to what's
Sorkin
going
said
on.
too that he likes to write dialogue in the middle of the scene, like the scene's already started in a way so that you feel like you're having to catch up, like you already missed something.
Hmm.
Um, him mentioning that this idea could be worth millions. How much do you think Facebook is worth currently?
Close to, I don't think it's because Amazon's $1 trillion and Apple's $1 trillion. I don't think it's that high. Maybe close. I don't know. Eight five
It's like
hundred billion.
115 billion. You're close.
It's
815 billion.
Yeah, I think Amazon and Apple are like the only like $1 trillion companies. And yet Apple won't give us a damn physical release of Killers of the Flower Moon.
Maybe someone at Apple's listening to this. Well, also, from what I understand, it's not all of them either. It's like a few other companies that are refusing to do it.
Yeah.
There he is, Aaron Sorkin.
I think it was Fincher's idea to have him in this movie. He's like, because what is that? Yeah.
Like a glottal stop.
It was a gag reflex.
What is this, guys?
I love to lean back to, guys, what is this?
He's like, suddenly doesn't care. He's like, guys, what is this?
Yeah.
What is this joke? I got shit to do.
I think Fincher said they shot like 268 like hours of footage. It's insane.
It's kind of funny to think about the fact that they're like, she's terrified that they're gonna card them, but like, you don't even think about the fact that they're not even 21 yet in this shot. Like their character isn't anyway.
Andrew Garfield was like 28 in real life.
I mean, he was like 30 when he was playing Spider-Man.
Yeah, he's 42 now.
28, 29.
43? I think he's like 43 now.
And he played
Looks
Spider-Man
exactly
again.
the same. Looks exactly the same.
I don't know. He's got kind of a baby face here, to be honest. Like he's got the same facial structure, but he does look a bit older to me. He's got stronger features, I think, is what it is. He grew into himself.
Mm-hmm.
All the red banners in the back, so you know that this guy's a threat.
Yeah. Have him on the only that side of the table. This guy's been here before. I think this is also the first movie that, because I know Fincher's a huge digital guy. This is actually the first full movie that he shot digitally.
Zodiac, there was some shots that were film, but most
some
of
that
it
were
was digital.
film. Some film, and I think Benjamin Button.
But yeah, this one was
too. This was the first that he did completely digital. Yeah, I think with the 268 hours, it's like if you convert that to like a 35 millimeter, like it'd be like 1.15 million feet. That's insane.
You could walk from one theater to the next rolling that out.
You could walk to another like planet. Anyone that edits a Fincher movie should be getting an Oscar. The amount of footage you have to go through.
All that shit just sitting there. I wonder how involved he is with like the editing process as well, because I'm sure that he's got to be like involved in it to the point where like he's probably able to help with it, kind of shape it, kind of give it the structure it needs. But at the same time, like
I'm sure.
Wonder how many of these takes is he actually choosing himself.
Like I'm sure he's sending as soon as they start shooting, like he's probably sending that footage to them right away so they can just start breaking it down.
Yeah.
They shot these Reds for these, like when Reds were first coming out. I think there was only
Oh yeah.
there was only 4 red ones at the time that were made, and Soderbergh owned 2 of them. So he gave Fincher so he could
What was the
use
camera
all the
that like
cameras.
didn't have the camera that like he was talking about one time that just like it didn't even have like a viewfinder on or something like that. You couldn't watch the footage back, so you thought it was stupid.
Yeah, I think the red was like the first one that you could like see, like you could see that footage back. Damn.
Cuts them off.
Yeah. Separate
And
them all in the
again,
footage.
you see the shot of Eduardo when he leaned back. The minute he leaned back, it kind of like panned a little bit, and there was that like red banner again. He's the only
Mhm.
one who sees that Sean's an asshole, or that he's even like a bad idea.
Yeah. Yeah, Fincher was like the first, probably is still the only director that does that. Like, it's gonna like Andrew Garfield sliding back in the chair there, like he's gonna move the camera with that slide. Like he's the only one that like does
Yeah.
that. Like right there, he slides again.
He did it again. He did it
He
again. Yeah.
slides, yeah. One of the coolest ones I think he ever did was in Mindhunter. Um, one of the characters is just in the kitchen and he like breathes really deeply and he like pulls up and the camera goes up with him and he comes back down. It's like, God, it's so like you don't notice it. It's just all in the like he's just having you just move your eyes with the frame. It's so like I wouldn't say it's subtle. It's just like it's just natural.
It feels right. It definitely feels like it belongs. No one else is
It
doing it
belongs in
though.
a
Like
Fincher. Yeah. If someone else tried to do it, you'd be like, why are you doing this? But when Fincher does it, you don't even like notice it.
there's so much precision from everything though. It's like the editing, the music, and it's like all of it before it's even done. Like how do you know that this is all gonna work out in that way? And he just does.
Mm-hmm.
Drop the just Facebook.
Drop the just meta.
I think it's cool that like everyone in the back is cleaning too now. Like
They've been
they've
there
been
for
closed
so
for a
long.
while.
Yeah.
Literally been there all night.
Bro, I would have been ripping shots.
Getting plastered
as,
at a
soon,
meeting.
as soon as I feel like this guy's an asshole, I'm like, yeah, I don't really, this guy doesn't care about me. I don't care about him. So whatever.
I'm like, you suck, dude.
It's on your tab. Thanks. I'll be get some more tequila over here. I guess they're doing like sake.
That's where my family lives.
He just said, why Florida? It's cheaper. That's what he should have said. Less taxes.
This guy's in Zodiac too. His lawyer, Sai,
Mm-hmm.
is
Yeah.
the editor, I think.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, he's the editor of the paper.
He's like, I want a gun. He's like, you need to
Robert,
stop
Robert,
boozing.
don't you have a deadline? Yeah, Robert, don't you have a deadline?
Don't you have a cartoon to make, Robert?
Yeah. I love the Jesus and then the Christ went into that scene
Yeah.
because it was like the same thing like he probably said there too in the paper, like Jesus Christ, like it's so good. Great editing.
He planted the story about the chicken. Don't fish. Eat other fish. The marlin and the trout.
And I love
That's
this
like,
Ray.
what is this?
The red just what's he talking about? I feel like
God.
if you like say the studio Sony's like looking at this for the first time and this is the scene you send them this edit, I feel like they'd be like, I don't like it
Oh yeah,
because there's so
100%.
much going on, especially the cutting back and forth. They'd be like, it's confusing. Like it's definitely a gamble in the editing to be like,
This movie could never be made today. Like it would never. It would go straight to streaming, and even then, like nobody would watch it.
mm-hmm.
Netflix would bury it.
I know we need to break Fincher out of Netflix jail.
I feel so lucky that I was one of the very few people who got to see The Killer in a theater. Would have never watched it
Yeah,
on Netflix. I'll tell you that much.
I could have drove, but I live in LA, so I can. But
You guys had it there, I'm sure. Yeah.
yeah, it's somewhere.
Oops.
He didn't. He did the close-ups when it's more intimate, and he goes, "Oops."
Oops.
Great eye movement by Andrew Garfield there. Like he feels like, oh shit. Ugh.
When did you decide to go to California for the summer? I mean, did I actually just somewhere in the middle of the Shaw Park variety? He was right. California's the place for you to be.
The little TV that they have.
Show Brazil. What is your problem with Sean? He doesn't bring anything to the
all the beers on the mantle.
It's still there. Like that's a beer, like that one beer is still in that same spot. I think it's a different beer, but it's still there. The other
I don't
one's
think
knocked
it's a
over
different
now.
beer. There's another one there. So
It's
the
just knocked
original
over.
beer, it's knocked over, but they have added another one.
This was the first movie to win an Oscar that used Final Cut Pro as their editing
I remember
tool.
hearing about that. That used it, and then Girl with the Dragon Tattoo used it too. I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
What's he talking about? It is.
Yeah, what's he talking about? What's he talking about?
I love that this was like. I love that the Blu-ray has this like on the. Has like a slip for it. Well, it's like a piece of paper. It just comes off. I wish I would have kept it too. The shot of him like in the lab.
Mm-hmm.
They really treat it like a sports game here too. It's so funny.
For folks that don't know, there is a 4K of this movie, which I own, but it was only available in the Columbia Pictures box set, which is Columbia is owned by Sony. And their volume 2, which that volume I think now goes for $500. The original box, the volume 1 box set goes for like unopened. I saw it was like $30,000, which is kind of insane.
We're gonna see how much the social network set right now. $75 with slipcover. It's a bit chipped. It doesn't look bad.
If you want my slipcover, I don't care.
I'm not even worried about the slipcover. I just want the disc. That's all I care about, man.
I got it. I will say Sony does they do a very good job with their 4Ks. I will give them that. Especially these Columbia box sets. They do a very good job.
Welcome to Facebook. Oh, I love the Uber Alice, California.
California.
Is this Dead Kennedys, I think? Could be wrong. He's such a dick.
This is yeah. That's Fincher's favorite line in the movie. Let me check your math on that. Yes, I got the same thing.
And then Eduardo just looks at him like just shut up. Like, shut up. You think you're so funny.
Like we all know you're the smartest guy in the room. Like, shut up. Like Like you're the smartest in the room, but you're not the smartest socially.
How much could possibly go wrong in 3 months?
I love the guy just sitting in the lawn chair up on the roof.
Yeah. I think Jesse Eisenberg said that his only direction towards Fincher was like for this scene. He's like, I don't think like Zuckerberg would be the one that's swinging. He'd be the one that's just like down here filming
Yeah.
because he was supposed to be like one of the first ones into the pool, and he was like, that doesn't make any sense. I feel like Zuckerberg wouldn't do that. He'd be the one that's down here, like letting them do it, but like still like still interested, but like filming it, but.
Good boy. What a coincidence. He lives right
Not gonna
across the
lie,
street from
they got there very fast from across the street. Like that doorbell rang very fast.
him. Yeah.
Like, would you
Oh, he was
sprint
helping her
over?
move. He says, I
Yeah.
think. This
This is
is my
Pasadena.
Sharon.
They filmed this in Pasadena, not Palo Alto.
I love the beers that just hit the wall.
Yeah. I think for that scene, like when the shatters on the wall here, on the next one. Yeah, so
Yeah,
like yeah, it's coming at you. I think they just had like a glass pane there, so it just hit the glass, so you couldn't see it. Because if you really look at it, it doesn't actually hit the
yeah, it does
wall.
not hit
It
the wall.
just
It literally cracks in
yeah
the screen. Yeah.
yeah. So they just put like glass there.
There's a lot of specific things about this entire like them moving that if you pay attention to like details wise, it shows that I mean, one, it sucks that he's taking advantage of Eduardo, but like he is doing it so much. Like they have such a bigger TV at the time that like this was what 2004, 2005. So like a TV of that size was huge. It cost so much to get a TV that big.
Mm-hmm.
He's just taking advantage of Eduardo at that point.
And then
They
this
shot this with
scene,
no audio, right? Or no like music.
yeah,
So everyone's
no
just kind of
music,
dancing.
but he had um Jesse Eisenberg and Justin Timberlake, he had them like talking like essentially screaming their lines like this. He had them talk really loud to act like they were talking over
Like
the
they had a
music,
club,
and
yeah.
yeah, and so like they could have it where you can blast the music, so it actually sounds like it seems so natural. Like this is how you talk like in a loud place like this. You're like basically yelling. But yeah, they said like they like basically lost their voices because they obviously do so many takes.
I believe it. Smart. I mean, even now, like the audio mixing for this is still so good. I feel like, and again, if this was
Mm-hmm.
made now, the audio mixing for this would be crap because it would be just something that
Mm-hmm.
was meant for Netflix or something.
Again, it feels so natural. You're just like, this is how you talk in like a loud bar, or like a club. Like you're like yelling, like, "How's it going?" Like essentially, haven't seen you in a long time, dude. Let's get some shots.
People in the back are like, I always focus on someone doing the back because it's so funny to see them dancing to
Yeah.
nothing.
A lot of the times now, they'll give them like earpieces, especially if you're
Yeah,
that far away. So they'll be playing music. This all listening to the same song, so they can get like some sort of like know what
idea.
the beat's gonna look like. Yeah, instead of just randomly just going like dancing. I wouldn't know what to do. I'd be like, okay. I love how he's dressed like a 40-year-old dad in this club.
Yeah, it's throughout the entire movie, like he always has the weirdest outfits, and that's why he looks up to Sean, I think, is because he's like
Mhm.
he's this calm, cool, collected guy. He seems like he's got his shit together, but he doesn't.
But Eduardo like did have his shit together. Like he dressed like
Yeah,
this
he
too.
dressed like pretty smart, yeah. He
But
always
I
had like a
guess
nice button up.
yeah, and Sean Parker was already successful. That's why he thought he was so cool. But Eduardo is like, yeah, he was successful for like 5 minutes before he got sued by everyone that ever created music. Like,
He's more worried about the name than anything else. Like
yeah.
what his name means.
But like it's like you said, like Look at like he's so cool. He'd bring them to the club. That first meeting, he was just so cool in that first meeting.
Now he's like basically doing the same thing, but Waldo's not there to like counteract anything that he's saying.
Mm-hmm. Not to bring like Mark down to reality. Be like, dude,
like listen to this guy.
this
He
guy's
sounds crazy.
yeah, this guy's just talking out of his ass.
And then he has a story about the girl that he's just trying to get back, and Mark
Yeah.
relates to that because of Erica.
Yeah, and he's like, "What? No!" Like that's the difference between them. Like, move on from that. Essentially, move on from that conversation that we just had 5 minutes ago. We're not talking about that anymore.
He's like, that doesn't even matter. Like that girl is irrelevant.
Yeah.
I'm successful now, and that's all I care about. But it's like Mark's like the only reason I want to be successful is to kind of get back at that.
Yeah, and his like the Timberlake's line delivery of the no is great. Like, they got some of his best acting. Just to no, like, why are you talking about that? Like, oh, here you go. Here's the short film. And this you could literally present this as a short film and like win probably an Academy Award. This whole sequence. This was a lot of your VFX shots here. A lot of this is like some of it's like toy model.
I was gonna say the opening scene was a toy model.
Yeah.
The opening shot. I mean, the opening shot was a toy model. It was like just
Mhm.
it's cool though. I mean, you don't really notice it that at first, but it's like if you study the shot, you're like, oh, this is fake.
Yeah. And he gives it like that anamorphic like lens, like it's all blurred on the edges.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could literally submit this as a short film and probably win a fucking Oscar. Like, just call it rowing or call it the race. No dialogue. It's only a minute and a half.
There's a lake that is pretty close to where I live, like where I go on that trail that I've told you about. I go walking and there's always people rowing, and I'm always like, dude, I want to do that so bad. It looks so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably a pain in the ass, so like they're probably tired as hell every day.
The guy that pointed to the water and yelled, "Come on!" I forget his name as an actor. He's in a lot of stuff, but he's like in Benjamin Button. He's the one that abandons the baby. Like he just came in for that. Like literally, you can barely see him. He just like points and says, "Like, come on." I forget his name as an actor. He's a great actor.
He looks like he'd be a scumbag to leave a baby.
Yeah, he's in a lot of stuff.
Can't believe he'd leave Brad Pitt behind. Little 96-year-old infant Brad Pitt.
Yeah. Look a lot older. There's Josh Pence's facial structure. You can see it really easily there.
I think it's whenever his hair looks different that you can really
Yeah.
tell it's not him. Like whenever his hair's slicked back like that.
Mm-hmm. And that side profile, he leaves those in.
You guys have these in the States. It's called Facebook.
Yeah, this is where they edit out another F-bomb.
Yes, that's absolutely right.
A little movement there again when he leaned over. Shh, let me just my teammate.
Nice little seats that they have.
Mm-hmm.
All the shots that they have where like Josh is looking away too, like it's so easy for them to just not see you. Like,
Yeah.
you're not really paying attention to it.
Yeah, like on a first watch, you're not gonna notice it. Like, I mean, yeah, if you're really looking for stuff like that, then yeah. But like,
Yeah.
the more you watch it, you're like clearly like, oh, clearly that's Josh Pence right there. You're not gonna edit that. Yeah.
It's just easier to kind of like ignore it. I mean, at the end of the day, you're not going to notice it at all.
Yeah. Called what? He like grabs him. What did you say?
What did you just say? You little weasel.
He's international now.
I want to gut him like, what does he say? I want to gut him.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the original line was like, let's gut the fucking nerd. But
oh, yeah. That is the line.
You can see him say fucking, but he says freaking.
They like ADR it.
Yeah, you can see like too many F-bombs. It's rated R. He clearly says fucking. Let's gut the fucking nerd. But and the freaking is pretty ADR-y. So,
There's the mics right there they use for him, I'm sure.
yeah, right there. It was a fine race, and they'll see us again. Like there's a fine race, and we'll see us again.
It's not about the race anymore, dude.
Yeah.
Suddenly back to the same thing again.
To like the movement when he stood up there. Like now you just like never unsee it. It's so good. Yeah, it's here it is. Screw it. Let's gut the freaking nerd. Yeah, watch his mouth.
Are they playing GTA?
Yeah. Actually, I think the 4K just said fucking.
Oh, did it?
I think.
You have to rewind it later and report back.
Yeah, I will. It's
Report back
it
your
could
findings.
it could my mind thinking it said because I know he says fucking like with his mouth, but obviously he says freaking. But
Do you have the Spider-Man 4K from 2002, the Sam Raimi one?
I do not know.
Okay, so
I
get
don't-
this.
I just have
Someone
his
pointed
regular
it out
Blu-rays.
recently, and I had to put in my disc the minute I saw it because I was like, "There's no way this is true." But you know, in end of the movie, whenever Willem Dafoe has the glider coming towards him, and he goes, "Oh," and it's coming towards him, and like the audio cuts out for like 2 seconds. It's such
Mhm,
a really strong editing choice, right? For
mhm.
some reason, the version that they
And
have
they
on
put it
digital,
back in.
like, well, they like didn't cut the audio for some reason, so it's in there, but it's only on the digital version. And then when I was watching it on disc like a month ago, I saw it. And it was playing. It played exactly the same I saw it. And I was like a long time ago. It didn't. It had the cut still in there from the audio. So I was like, so the digital version that I have for the 4K is the incorrect version, but
Change.
the 4K was not changed whatsoever. Like physical media
Interesting.
is really there, dude. Little small things like that. It's
Interesting.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to go back and rewind that. I'll get back to you if he says
I
fucking.
wonder if there's ever like any specific thing that they do with like studios where they're like, you got to change this slightly, or you got to just see if you can slightly alter
Well,
this
they do.
audio.
They have re-edited stuff for to get rid of some like racial stuff, and especially like in Dumbo, like the they
For
get
the
they
like, well, the
the
digital
crows
stuff I
at
know
the
they
end.
have, yeah.
So like they which is like yeah, you should take that stuff out. That's not good. You should not have that stuff in your movie. Things are dated. But then there's the argument like you just put the disclaimer up front, like this was made in 1940.
I prefer the disclaimer personally.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like, I understand that this is kind of racist. This was a different time, but at the
Mhm.
same time, like when you erase it, you're just acting like
Yeah.
it didn't happen. We're just not gonna put
Yeah.
this worse.
So the Dumbo copy I have on Blu-ray has the is the original cut. But if you go to Disney Plus, it's they edit that stuff. Which I guess they for from a kid standpoint, I could see why they would do that. Like if you're
Yeah.
gonna put that for kids, like maybe the kids shouldn't like this is clearly racist.
The French Connection was a movie that also had like an issue with like the version that's on Disney Plus where they re-edited
Yeah,
it to
I think they fixed that. Like they're because they got so much backlash, they put the original back in. I think they were like, okay, we can't.
bro. That was one of those things I remember thinking that week. I was like, yo, being a physical media
Buy the
collector
physical media.
is really
E-
paying off this week.
even if you just find a DVD, it's still the original cut.
It's such a strange placement for a door right before a hallway.
Mhm. Yeah, a lot of rooms in this house.
Yeah.
Doesn't even look like that big of a house. I'm frightened. Yeah, like see, like if he had been out here the whole time,
He would
I
have been
don't
able to
think
control that. Yeah. None of this would
control
have been the
Mark.
way it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been.
Sean's basically living there now too.
I think they already showed the scene where he's like, I read about you in the online or whatever. And
Yeah,
he's
they
like, you know
said it
what
like
about
right
you?
before.
Yeah, you know what about you? And he goes, what? Just like, oh, that's
He
how
asked him
you
about the girls
literally.
though. That's why he's saying he's like, how are the girls,
Yeah,
Sean?
how old are they?
It's like it's not a nice
Yeah,
task. It's like I've read things about
how
you, you
old are
know.
they?
It's like, you know what I read about you? Nothing.
Implying like this dude's just pure like
A loser.
yeah,
It's like, no, dude, he's a lot better than you are, actually.
yeah.
I love how he leaves it on that note. What do you mean get left behind? And then the minute he hears that, he's like, go to the bank. What's a check? What is that? A checkbook? What is that?
It's well, he's showing the bank account. The bank account's on the bottom of the check.
Yeah. I was just making a joke about how young I am.
Oh. I took
People
that
don't
so seriously.
people don't use checks anymore. You try showing a check to some kid, they're like, "What's that?"
I took that so seriously. Well, he's showing the bank account.
I remember I was talking to someone pretty recently that I work with, and it's like a younger kid, and they were talking about like their taxes, and like they were like, "How do I get my how do I get this?" I was like, "It's the same spot you get your pay stubs." He's like, "What's a pay stub?" And I was like, "What are you
Oh,
talking about?
man.
What's a pay stub? It's like your check."
Yeah.
He was just like, "I just hit my direct deposit." And I was like, "What are you talking about? Like you've never seen a
Yeah.
check?"
Yeah, it's like they still like I still get pay stubs. It's just online. Like you probably have a pay stub. It's just online. You can probably ask for it from HR. Like they'll have it.
Just go to the office. They'll get it for you, dude.
Yeah. Oh, Zodiac vibe right there at that door.
The door unlocking, yeah.
Yeah.
She's crazy.
She's so good.
Why isn't she in more stuff, dude? I don't get it. Like, she's so good in this one movie, but like Zach and Cody for 10 years and all of a sudden nothing.
Yeah. Sometimes like they'll still be in the industry. They just like do like other stuff like producing work at production companies. Like
She's in like some Netflix movies I've seen before. Not that I've like actually like actively watched anything, but like I've seen her before, like in
I mean
passing.
Netflix has got that like kind of lifetime hallmark like market getting kind of cornered. Like they make those movies now.
That's what I'm saying. She's been in those before. 100% she has.
Mm-hmm. I mean it's a good market to hit. It's good money. Heard the shoots are very chill, very easy. They're very quick, but like it's easy money for these actors. That's why a lot of them do them. Like Brenna Song's not going to be the lead of a studio movie. Like,
Oh, she was actually, hold on. She was in a movie like a few years ago where like apparently she was like, I gotta find out what it's called now, but it was like a huge movie because it was so bad. Everybody was talking about it online.
oh,
Oh,
here's
this is
your
that scene I was talking
the
about. The scene
scene.
with like the editing, yeah.
Yeah.
They're literally both facing different directions at all times, and then the minute they
Mm-hmm.
start to find like common ground, they start to face each other.
Yeah.
Anyway, that Brenda song movie is apparently like about her like having like amnesia or something and like being kidnapped by some person and like pretending he's it
Mm,
was so bad. How did you not see the fire from the mirror? Like,
and
I
yeah,
think
be
it's
like,
funny that he
hey,
says that, where he's like, "Do you like being a joke? Do you like being a nobody?" But it's like, bro, Eduardo was never a nobody. Like, he had friends. He was in a
yeah,
frat. Like, you were the one. You were the nobody.
yeah. Well, essentially, he's essentially talking about himself. Like, do you want to be
Yeah.
a joke? Do you want to go back to that? Being like, do you want us to go back to that?
It was like there
But
was no
Eduardo is
us,
like,
dude. You were a loser.
yeah, Eduardo is like, dude, I tried to get you to do all this stuff and you wouldn't do it. Like, I'm not the loser, you are.
There's all of a sudden a silhouette. This someone who's
Yeah.
a shell of a man. He's the only one taking this even seriously, and everyone's inside partying.
Also, like
It's
like
kind of
it's never about the money for Mark.
this entire shot too. Like, look at their shots together, and they are the exact opposite. Like, his face is
Mm-hmm.
lit with like this like golden kind of light with like a blue tint background, and then
Yeah.
Mark's is
Well,
like this golden or like golden background with like the blue face because it's a pool. They're suddenly on the same page now, right?
mm-hmm. And there's like you leave that little light on his face, like there's still a little beacon of hope there. Like, oh wait, like you pull it back, like, oh
You
wait,
could still do the right thing, and he just
yeah,
chooses not to. He just chooses to screw him
yeah.
over. So well edited.
Royally screws him over. It's on in for like no reason. That's like the whole point. Like, why did you do that? Like,
I think he saw as like Wardo holding him back when in reality it was just like,
yeah,
bro, he was the only one who had even like the slightest interest in mind for you.
yeah. That was only he was looking out for you.
I love the shirt that Dustin Moskovitz is wearing because it's such like it really is like the 90% of like t-shirts that you'll see like on gamer dudes. Stop destroying my planet. It's where I keep all my stuff. They'll wear t-shirts that say like I had to pause my game for this.
If this was a Universal movie, they definitely would have had him wear a Jurassic Park shirt.
Oh yeah, 100%. I love the progression of time with everything outside like getting darker and darker. Like it's just showing like they've really been here like all freaking day.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like now we get their full relationship. Now it's getting darker out. Their relationship's getting darker. What?
Cinematography, blocking, shot design, everything there.
And now it's like once you get here, you're like, okay. Or now we get to the real reason why they're not friends anymore. And he won't even like look at Mark.
Sharp art is out of focus too, like showing he's like nothing to him anymore.
Well, he's basically like if he looks at him, he's gonna start crying. Like he's basically just like his best friend just cut him out of everything.
And he's still the only one that's even dressing semi-professional. Like Mark's wearing a t-shirt and a freaking jacket. And
He
he's
came
wearing
in
like
he came in a 3-piece suit, man. He walked in.
yeah, look at him.
I mean, I would think I was so cool too if I was a CFO of that company. Like,
Yeah,
you're
100%.
all these people's bosses. Like, you're walking around, you're like, I'm your boss. Like,
and here's Sean Parker basically ordering Mark to like basically walk in and just like do his little petty work for him. Oh, he says two, doesn't he? Yeah, F you. And then the F you flip-flops.
So yes, two.
So they got away with two. I wonder if they had to appeal for that, or if they just automatically gave it a PG-13 without even having to talk about it.
Yeah, I guess I think it depends on
they can appeal for
how it's used, how it's used too. Here we go.
This movie goes by so fast, dude. It's actually insane. Like I was thinking to myself, like we got probably like another 40 minutes left, and I'm like, oh, this is the end right here.
Yeah, we have like 10 minutes left. This is the scene when that theme comes back.
Did you see that Dylan O'Brien like recreated this scene with somebody on Twitter?
Oh yeah, like during COVID.
Yeah, I remember like I was all over that shit. I was like, thank God someone's bringing back some culture here.
Oh, this walk that Andrew Garfield does when he like walks in, like he does this like deep breath, like he thinks he's so fucking cool. And then what's about to happen now though? It's like, oh,
the setup for that shot too is they just put on like a giant track and they just followed him with it.
Yeah.
What is this?
And he's not dumb, so he knows like what is the, like he knows like immediately what's going on.
He's a business major, yeah. The guy literally said,
I love working with business majors.
I love working with business majors, yeah, and all of a sudden you don't, right?
Yeah. Oh, that shot of the pull up and dolly back.
The door, yeah.
Yeah.
How many laptops did they say they broke for that? Like 30?
15. I think it was 15? Like, yeah, maybe 30. Yeah. I remember that on the special features, you can see they like scan across all the laptops they broke. Here comes the theme. Because he's an asshole. This is majorly being an asshole. Even his own, like, I love the look. I'm sure like Fincher probably told that to Sheeta Jones and then the I forget the actor's name that plays the lawyer. The look, they glance, they look over at him like, "Wow, you are a
Like,
fucking asshole.
you are a dick, dude. Like you really
Yeah,
screwed him over.
0.03%. Yeah, like they both glance over, like, "Wow, you're an asshole, dude."
That look Sai gave.
Yeah, even like that, it's like, and he's like, "Yeah, you got me." But it's like that's why I'm like, why wouldn't they just lead with that? Like, anyway, so but it's a movie and it works because you get their whole relationship, and he just cuts him like that.
It's interesting though too. Sean is also wearing something very similar to like what
When Mark or
Mark suddenly like usually wears now that he's like comfortable with him.
Mm-hmm.
He's like no longer putting up a facade. He's like, I don't have to pretend anymore, dude. I'm just like you. I'm just a nobody, pretending to be somebody.
Yeah, I'll say, Justin Timberlake's best acting he's ever done is about to come up here. Oh yeah, the camera movements.
As a co-founder of Facebook, which I am, better lawyer up, asshole. Because I'm not coming back for 3%. I'm coming back for everything.
Damn.
That's like the only moment you ever see Mark ever come close to crying in this scene,
Oh
which is
yeah,
insane.
that's
Like
when
in
he
this whole
knew.
movie.
That's when he knew he really like he's not. He messed up there.
It's the closest thing that he's probably ever had to a breakup in this entire scene, even though he literally got
Yeah.
dumped on screen.
Here's the best acting he's ever done. This reaction to the fake punch right there, like when he scrunches his face and like that, it's like, oh, that's so good. I like standing next to you, Sean, because he called his bluff
Yeah.
the moment he met him. Like this guy's full of it. Oh, coming up here, when it says like the amount of Facebook users when they
Followers
reach a
or the
million,
Facebook users, yeah.
it's actually the time of the movie. I think it was 1 hour and 46 minutes. So it's 1,046,000.
Oh, is it?
I'm pretty sure it's the actual time of the movie.
145,
See.
48. Where are you gonna see? I left it on.
Yeah, I put it on show. I don't think it does like one. We'll see. Like it's like 146. Like that's the act. Like I'm pretty sure, unless it goes into 147. Hopefully, I'm correct and I didn't make something up.
You might be right. But even then, he's still being a scumbag. Like, look at him. He's doing
I
exactly
know.
what Sean said he was gonna do, or what Eduardo said he was gonna do.
Yeah, but even he's like, you didn't have to be that hard on him. Like he knows, like, yeah, you're right. It's like it's basically his breakup. Their bromance is over. Jesus.
That look back, the
Yeah.
exact same as Dakota Johnson's earlier.
Oh yes, I'm correct. Yeah, 146.
Yeah, you're right. 146, 46.
146, 46. Yeah, actually, Fincher also he didn't want any of the actors to meet the actual people at all.
I don't blame him.
He wanted. I mean, it's a good like. Sometimes like you have to be like, nah, I don't want you to meet them. Like, I want you to see how you're gonna play this character. Because obviously,
Same
there's
thing
enough
with
like
like
enough to read up
Moonlight.
on about Mark Zuckerberg. So like,
Moonlight, they did something similar with like each actor who played what was his name? I can't remember. Chiron.
mm-hmm.
Every actor that played each other, like they told them not to meet each other. Oh my gosh, I forget how young he looks in this movie, but Caleb
Landry
what's his
Jones,
name?
yeah,
Caleb Landry Jones. Yeah,
yeah.
every time he's in this, I forget. Talk about Instagram.
And Fincher said this scene had a really. This was another the MPAA was like, I don't know
Shut
about
down.
this snorting coke scene. like this is how you are. So like they really had to cut it down and like blur a lot, like cut away from it a lot. I think they like the original edit had a lot more close-ups on them snorting. Like right there, yeah, you just have that kind of shot with the sound effect of. I'm sorry, he's your only handheld shot in the movie.
There's always like one in a Fincher movie, and everybody always knows it too.
Yeah, it's interesting when he uses it too.
He hides.
It's like,
Good to
bro,
see you, officer.
yeah. Pretty soon he's like, bro, look at your eyes. You're clearly on something.
That's not mine.
And
You know that scene in Shrek 2, whenever they pull the bag of catnip off of Puss in Boots, and he's like, "That's not mine, bro." Every time I see that scene, I think of this. Like, that's not mine.
I
He's
love
literally
when they sneak
snap a
adult
pen.
jokes into like movies like that.
The OJ Simpson joke is like too good, bro. And he just died too. He died the weekend it came out in theaters again. Like, how iconic is that?
They knew.
They somehow like they produced an Omen, like they knew what was going on. Oh, you saw the first Omen the other day, dude.
I did. It was good. I liked it.
Absolutely bonkers.
I love
Yeah.
I love how I tweeted. I hope Gregory Peck's in this movie. Spoiler
Yeah.
alert.
I don't know when
He's
this
not-
episode will drop, but
Yeah.
if you haven't seen the first Omen yet, for anybody listening, like go support
just
it in
say-
theaters. It is amazing
Yeah.
for a horror movie.
So Gregory Peck's not physically in it. There's just a photo.
Yeah,
I
he's
started
basically
laughing.
in it.
I started laughing. I was like, yeah, yes. Gregory Peck has made this movie.
You walked in thinking, I hope Gregory Peck's in this movie after being led down
Yeah.
1,000 times, and then you walk, you're like, no way.
Gregory Peck is in a 2024 movie.
After he's been dead for years.
He's dead for like 40 years.
It's kind of funny to think that he says, I will call someone whenever the person he would have called would have been Wardo.
Mm.
Somebody set the coke in there. Bro, it was you. Shut up.
I had that phone, baby.
Motorola.
What was it? The Razor Flip or whatever?
Razor flip phone. I think everybody had
Yeah.
that thing, dude.
I had that thing. That was like the cool phone.
That's why he likes Sean, is because he sees him with a Motorola Razor flip.
Yeah.
Sean or Wardo didn't have a Razor flip. Palo Alto, California. Damn, bro. Shout out Palo Alto by James Franco. Got to be one of my favorite James Franco directed films. It's a nice match cut.
Never seen it.
It's pretty decent. It's all right. James Franco, piece of crap, but it's a good Harry Osborn.
Yeah, it's movie's very fast paced. We're already at the end. Doesn't even feel like it's been 2 hours.
They talk fast.
Talk fast and edit fast. Got a lot. I mean, they cover a lot if you really think about it.
They do. They really do.
And they cover an entire friendship. I guess not. You covered the downfall of a friendship because they had already been friends by that point, obviously.
The speeding
Now-
ticket, brother.
I go back to my TV show Parks and Rec that I'm filming at this time.
Now I got to go back to work for Leslie. She works downstairs. I'm in the Parks and Rec department. I'm actually just up here vibing. They asked me to help out a little bit.
Yeah, he had to have gotten a settlement because it's undisclosed. I think it was $1 billion. Because she's like, yeah, in the long run, it's a speed bump. Now you're worth almost $1 trillion.
It really is kind of crazy.
20 years later, you're worth $1 trillion.
Doesn't matter. I said it and I was thinking about it.
Yeah.
Dang.
Because like now we know who you are as a person. Like you fucked over so many people. Like maybe he did send that in to fuck over Sean Parker.
It was Wardo, Sean said. And blogging.
But Wardo wouldn't do that, especially if he knows that Mark Zuckerberg's there. He wouldn't do that to Mark. He wouldn't be that low.
Oops.
But I think that's the point. Is like, would Mark be that low to do that though? And we come full circle soon to Rooney Mara. She's the opening and closing.
My cat has some thoughts, I think. Yeah?
She wants to see Rooney Mara again.
Dude, he said this shit sucks.
This is my least favorite Fincher.
He's like, this is actually the worst Fincher movie. Alien
Yeah.
3 is the best one.
Yeah.
He's like, and I will die on that hill.
He's an Alien 3 stan. This is what I remember Facebook looking like. This was the glory days.
You know that meme of
when you would log in and you'd see the friend request, it'd be like 2, and you're like,
oh my god, someone wants to be my friend.
Yeah, and you're like,
political views were still like on there.
Yeah. You would just go home and go on Facebook.
You know that meme of Jesse Plemons going around right now? That's like the thing from Civil War. It's just that, but it's like, what kind of Fincher fan are you?
Yeah.
Are you an Alien 3 truther? Social network purist?
65 million.
I like me a good David Fincher film that ends with some text. Hell yeah. Look at this. Gotta read.
Texting some Beatles songs. The one that got away.
570 friends, bro. She's more popular than you are.
Yeah, bro. He's got 0 friends now. Received an unknown settlement. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was like over 1 billion.
You don't get to 1 million friends without making a few enemies. I think that was the big tagline for the poster.
Facebook now has like double that.
Facebook now I bet I can find out pretty quick. 500 million members.
I want to say it's like 1.1 billion.
3 billion.
3 billion.
3.049 billion.
What's the population of the world? 8? 7? Like you're telling me like 2/3,
good, a little over a quarter
of the world, is on Facebook.
That's freaking wild.
And you think about it, I'm sure like half the world uses Amazon.
Yeah. I mean, it's the only way to get physical media now, dude.
I know.
I don't like being an Amazon person. I don't like using Amazon for anything, if I'm being honest, but it's the only way I can get any sort of Blu-rays now.
I've noticed too when I going to like the used bookstores to find stuff. Like I just don't see a lot of new stuff.
There is nowhere near as much as there used to be.
It takes like the used bookstore usually when Best Buy was around, you would see like the new 4Ks. Like within 2 weeks, they'd be in there.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't see any new stuff in there. I'm like, eventually they'll show up, but it could be like a couple years now.
Yeah, I always see stuff from like maybe like 2020 and before, and I always see like a bunch of Joker movies. I always see like a bunch of like the big ones, like Joker, Avengers. I always see like the big superhero ones. There's nothing else.
Damn, this is your third Fincher.
I'm
about to just got to keep going.
You just got to keep going for this one.
Well, we'll circle back and maybe he'll be the next director series.
We can re-record some episodes with Vikash, especially this one. I know he loves this one.
I know. Yeah. He's the number one fan of this movie. This podcast is hosted and edited by Pat Brennan. That's me, with intro and closing music by Patrick Baxter.